Please give her a hand. Thank you.
Good morning. How are we today? Are we excited to be here? I'm excited. So like she has said, I'm Agatha Chipampila Yowela. I've been a banker for 28 years. So I started straight from school, from Taylor, and now I look after branches in Lusaka, working for one of the top banks here. But what really drives me is unleashing potential, encouraging people, motivating them, inspiring them, because I've got a story, and I always believe that my story can encourage someone. My story can actually motivate someone. So are we ready? And my sessions, very interactive. I don't talk alone, because I believe that all of us, we've got something to bring to the table, right? And we are here for a purpose. Are you here for a purpose? Because I am. Okay. So I'll start my session because first and foremost, our foundation is Jesus Christ. Our foundation is God. So where does Agatha get her inspiration? Where does she get going? Where does she get her motivation? What keeps her doing what she's doing? Because first she knows she's a child of God. And the Bible says, if you're a child of God, then you're a princess, right? Yeah. So for me, Genesis 1:26 has always done it for me. My mother tells me I come from a very humble beginning. And by the way, my sessions, I share a lot of my stories. Like I said, I want to inspire someone. I want someone to relate, to say, okay, so if God did it for her, he can do it for? Yes. So Genesis 1:26, the Bible reads, "Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. So we are created in the image of God. Isn't that awesome? So every day, tell yourself that I'm created in the image of God. And the Bible says, in the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. Are we included? Male and female. And God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground." Amen. So we can see, first, made in the image of God. We've got authority. God gave us power, to rule. Isn't that awesome? So now I start my session. What is your dream? Anyone to share? What is your dream? Who do you want to become? Your name?
My name is Pauline Wheeler. My dream is to become a Chief Justice.
Wow, let's give it to her. So, Irene, you said? Pauline. So Pauline would like to become a Chief Justice. Wow. And all the best. May God bring it to pass. Anyone else to share their dream? Okay, we've got a hand here and 2 hands there.
My name is Lisa Mabuti.
Mhm.
I grow up, I want to become a journalist.
Wow, a big hand for her. She wants to become a journalist. We always want people to share stories, right? And to give us information of what is going on. And imagine now having a Christian journalist. It will all be about good news, right? Okay. Yes?
My name is Beauty and I want to become a doctor to help save lives.
Amen to that. A clap for her as well. Doctor, when we get sick, we are not feeling well, imagine a doctor even says a prayer so that God can complete, right? Wow, I'm liking it here. Last one. Share your dream. And remember, as you confess, it will come to pass.
My name is Jen Yangu and I want to become a children's doctor when I grow up so that if the children get sick, I can help the next generation to grow and help others.
Amen, amen. So 2 doctors in our midst. So today, as we interact, as you go home, write it down. What is your dream? What would you want to become when you grow up? And a dream, by the way, can be even just next week. Maybe I haven't been studying. I want to just make sure that I pass my exams, right? Okay, so I always want to start from the beginning and allow me to just define what a dream is from the dictionary. It is a cherished aspiration. A cherished aspiration. Ambition or ideal. So it's something that you are wishing for. When I was growing up, I told you I come from a very humble beginning. I went to school without shoes. This Agatha that you are seeing, went to school without shoes. I slept on the floor. Can you believe that? And now Agatha is head of distribution, country head. I look after 50 branches. I've got over 350 people that I look after. I've been a banker, I've worked in Zambia and outside Zambia, and I shared my story to say if God can do it for someone who went to school without shoes, someone who slept on the floor, guess what? He can do it for me. So say, yes, he can do it for me, he can do it for you guys. Fulfilling something desired. And even when I was growing up, I had the privilege to go to secondary school. One of the things that my mother and father put in me was that make school your mother and father. And one day you will testify. And my God, I took it with all my heart. And when I went to boarding school in grade 8, for me it was like now the first time that I was leaving my parents. I was at St. Mary's in Livingstone, going to like a town. My father used to work in Mamba, he was a miner. And I started developing certain dreams. I started being exposed to certain things. My teachers, the way they were dressing. And even at school, we had kids that came from rich families, middle class, and some of us. But guess what? That gave me some fuel, some fire to say what? If they can do it, I can do it also. And remember my scripture, Genesis 1:26. I'm made in the image of God and is given me authority to rule, to have dominion. So, yes, I thank God for my friends who come from a rich family, but guess what? I'm going to be my own person, be the change that I want to see. So from there, I started having dreams. And I recall the banking dream came about when I was in grade 10 and introduced to commerce. So, banking, okay. And sometimes would go in town, march past. Who has been exposed to march past? You know those days, march, when we go marching and everything. So as we went for march past from school to wherever they were taking us, would pass through banks. I'd never entered a bank. But with a little knowledge about commerce, I started liking banking. Then I would see per bank, to my cars parked. I see smart bankers to my tie. And I told myself, one day, I'm going to become a banker. Even the time that I joined banking as a teller, I told myself, one day, I'm going to be a branch manager. So you see the dreams, and you work towards it. I'll talk about that. So you have to dream. You have to have a passion. You have to live for something. So we've heard doctor, there was, which one? There was doctor, there was Chief Justice. So she's talking about law and everything that comes with it. Dream is about aspirational, not yet tangible. I love what we talk about because it goes back to the Bible. What is faith? Who can describe what faith is? In your own words. Let's go for it. I love girls because, it's us to make it happen, right? Okay, thank you. So faith. What is faith?
Believing in something.
So believing in something, is it still there? Do you have it now? Whatever you are believing God for, it's not yet there. Go to Hebrews. Faith, it's about hope. But the thing has not yet come. That is faith. And that's a dream. It's not yet tangible. When she says she wants to become a doctor, is she a doctor? Chief Justice, is she Chief Justice? Some of us want to be teachers, farmers. So it's aspirational, not yet tangible. When you said, now I said I'm laying a foundation. So you have your dream. First, you are a child of God. You can do anything. And the Bible says, if God is for you, who can be against you? After you know and you have a dream, the next is to set what I call goals. Set goals. And now we are going to talk about that. So there are many goals in life that you can set. We have financial goals. We have personal development goals, and that is what we are going to focus on. Spiritual and relationship. For us, spiritual is number one, right? In the corporate world, we call it P1, your priority number one. So that we can't even debate, right? We have to be born again. We have to accept Jesus Christ as our personal savior. Then now we go to personal. Because the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things, the dreams included, right, shall be added unto you. When you are setting goals, how many of us have heard about the word SMART? Acronym, SMART. Yeah, okay. So, we are writing, right? So, S stands for be specific. S for specific, those that are writing. S for specific. So we are saying be specific about your dream. So S stands for specific. Let's be specific about our dream. Then M, measurable. The dream has to be measurable. The goal, we need to measure it, right? It's not forever and ever, no. It has to be measurable. You start from here, and I'm going to end here. It has to be achievable. Your goal to arrive to your dream has to be achievable. And we'll talk about that. It has to be relevant. Someone talked about being a doctor. We need doctors or not? We need them, right? So it's relevant. You choose to be a farmer, you are going to feed us. Not only are you going to feed yourself, you feed your family, you feed the nation and nations. So it has to be relevant. A doctor, we need doctors to treat us when we are not well. Chief Justice, we need them to keep the law and order. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. And the last one, time bound. Primary school is from grade what? Yes? Grade 1 up to 7. So it's time bound. It can't be always, I'm still at primary school, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years later. Then we have to go back to the tables, right? Grade 12, the secondary one, 8 to what? 12. Even when you go out now, tertiary, it's either you are doing a 3 years course, 4 years. If you want to be a doctor, I know it used to be 7, but now I'm told it's 6 years. So there should be time you allocate to your dream. If you want to develop a certain habit, you can't just leave it hanging, right? There should be time frame that is accompanying your goal or your dream. When you are talking about personal development, there are things that you need to do. There are things that are required of you. And by the way, when I started working so many years ago, that time, if you had 6 points, 7 points, Division 1, you could actually get a job that time, 20 plus years ago. If you had 6 points or what, you can actually work in the bank. And that's how my journey started, at 7 points. And because I told you guys I come from a what background? We don't call it poor now. It's what? Humble. We are very polite. Huh? Yeah. So I couldn't go to school there and then, but I had an opportunity then, not now. If you finish grade 12, you can't join the bank. All banks now, they want some qualification. They will say diploma or higher. But that time, I was fortunate. So I started working in the bank as a teller. But remember my dream of becoming a branch manager. And to become a branch manager, there was a process. There was something that needed to be done. And I thank God when I look back at the branch manager who saw how hardworking I was. And one day, he called me in his office and said, you know what, Agatha, when we are promoting people, your name always comes up. But when we go to your file, we just find 7 points. Because then things had changed. For you to become a manager, you had to have a qualification. So one day I'll talk about it at length, but I had to stop work, and that's how I went to the University of Zambia. By then, I was married, I had children, but I did my first degree, came out, became a management trainee, came out, I did my master's, and God just started opening doors in my life. That even when I look back now, I'm like, oh God, you are awesome. And God opens doors in our lives that no man can shut. So I said, as you do personal development, you have to think positively to stay focused. What did I say? Think positively. Because we do have things that are going to impact us in the negative. Even just coming here, tell me, who's going to be honest and share? Maybe someone wanted you to go elsewhere, you got discouraged, do I have the right for, attire, in sapato, Who is going to share how you felt? And what made you come? Because then you are thinking positively, right? Someone to share what made you come? What made you come here today? Anyone? You want to say something? Anyone? Okay, there's a hand there. What made you come?
I wanted to acquire knowledge so that I can learn new things on how to do them.
Yes. You know, I like what Pastor J says, that watch out for the people that speak out. And I was like you, once I would be in a meeting, they tell me to say something, I'm again asking myself, there's a voice, mwatine chisungu alalanda bwino, chizungu za chikamba bwino. You know, one of the things that we've been taught, and I've been taught in my leadership journey, is to raise my hand, to speak out. It doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. My voice has to be heard. If you talk to my mother, I was a shy person. I had a lot of things that were working against me. Going to school without shoes. You think you can put your hand up? Huh? Always in the background. But as I started growing, getting into the corporate world, I had to shake myself up and learn. And by the way, speaking, raising your hand, you learn, you practice. And didn't I make mistakes? Even now, I'll be in a meeting, I'm the only lady. And the men, you should see the men, the confidence. So one of the things that we are going to talk about one day as girls is how do I get my confidence, right? Very, very important. And like I was saying, Pastor J always says, watch the people that speak in this room. One day, you'll be watching them on television. And I totally believe. Coming out of my shell, raising my hand, finding my voice has given me platforms that I never, ever dreamed of. Think positively to stay focused. So today, as we interact, as other speakers come, I want to see more hands. Just speak out, whatever is upon your mind. So think positively all the time. So what motivated her is to come and acquire knowledge so that she can now use that knowledge to be a better person. Stay resilient. Resilient simply means don't give up. There will be so many things that will actually come your way, storms, bottlenecks, that if you are not resilient, you can give up. And for me, I like being practical. Even just coming here, attending these sessions, we could have been anywhere, right? There is agriculture show. We could have gone to play. We could have gone to plait our hair. But just you making that decision to come today, I think we need to clap for ourselves. Can we do that? Thank you. Thank you for coming. And you made a good choice. Number 3, personal development. Make time to read. How many of us like reading? Make time to read. They say leaders are readers. And that has helped me. I told you about my humble beginning. There were no books. And I recall when I was young, there was a man that used to stay near us. He used to buy newspapers. And after maybe 3 months, he would just throw them. And I would go for those newspapers. I was reading news for like 6 months ago, 1 year. And my mother tells me that I finished reading the Bible when I was like in grade 5. Genesis to Revelation. You know what my brothers and sisters say? They joke and say, but that was the only book in the house. So she had no choice. Yeah? But it was about reading. I can assure you, reading will open ways, doors in your lives that you've never even imagined. And after all, how many of us are at school, college, in here? School, any school, secondary, primary, almost all of us, right? And for us to pass exams, we have to do what? Read. Yeah. So we are saying make time to read. Manage your time. Very, very important. Manage your time. Be a timekeeper. Plan your time. If you don't plan your time, guess what? Who's going to plan your time? Friends. We are going to manage your time. So manage your time. Know that from this time to this time, this is what I'm going to do. Strive for excellence. I'm reminded of the book of Daniel. So today again, we have a lot of assignments and homeworks. There is first, we are going to go back home and think seriously about our dreams, our personal development, our goals. Now, I want you to go and read the book of Daniel. Read the book of Daniel. The excellent spirit was upon Daniel, and God distinguished him. And in a foreign land, he was again recognized, given influence, given authority, and that has happened in my life. Like I'm sharing, I found myself on tables outside Zambia, in Zambia. One company that I worked for, a bank again, sent me to Dubai for 6 months. They sent me to Kenya for 3 months. Sent me to Botswana 3 months. I was in South Africa for 2 years at the regional office. It's not about where you are coming from. But if you determine, first, as a child of God, to be used by God to become all that you were created for, I tell you, God will open doors that no man can close. And if God has done it for Agatha, he can do it for who? Me. And even much more, much more. Strive for excellence. Whatever you do, give it your best. Give it your all. If it's at school, give it your best. Your subjects, whatever you are doing. If you plait hair, you do nails, whatever you do, give it your all. Build a strong network. Mentorship, what we are doing today, very, very important. And I always tell my friend Sheila to say, when I was growing up, if I was exposed to such, I might even be in State House. That I can assure you. I could have become the first female president of Zambia, but the dream is still on. So build a very strong network. Have positive friends. Friends that encourage you to study. Friends that encourage you to become better. Friends that encourage you to do something about your life. Build study habits. It comes again. The Bible says, study yourself. You know, we have to show ourselves approved of men. So, have study habits. And right now, you guys are so fortunate. You are exposed to so many materials, but choose wisely. Read things that are going to build you. Read things that are going to take you to the next level. Get knowledge, get understanding. There is a saying, and we'll repeat it. Knowledge is power. How many of us have heard it? So at the count of 1, 2, 3, knowledge is power. 1, 2, 3, knowledge is power. But I'm going to add something now. We are going to say, but applied knowledge is more powerful. So knowledge is power. So this group, 1, 2, 3, knowledge is power. Then again, I'll say 1, 2, 3. This group will say, but applied knowledge is more powerful. We've got it? Okay. 1, 2, 3. This group. Knowledge is power. Again. Knowledge is power. Say it as if you mean it. It's not coming out. Say it as if you mean it. Knowledge is power. Better. 1, 2, 3, but. So applied knowledge is more powerful. 1, 2, 3.
But applied knowledge is more powerful.
1, 2, 3.
But applied knowledge is more powerful.
Say it now as if you mean it. 1, 2, 3.
But applied knowledge is more powerful.
Yes. knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is more powerful. So which one are we going to go for? Applied knowledge. So whatever you are learning, apply it. It's not about talking, it's about doing. Okay, so that's another assignment. Every time you are getting some knowledge, remind yourself that applied knowledge is more powerful. Then when you are setting goals, there's what we call short-term and long-term goals. So I want someone to say something. What do you understand by a short-term goal? And if you can, give me an example. Okay, there's a hand.
Short-term goals are goals that are achieved in a short period of time. An example, maybe you're about to write your end of term test.
Yes.
And maybe you're writing in September and this is August. So
Yeah.
the period that you have between August and September, this is your short-term goal to achieve.
Wow. This one is my girl. I think you deserve a hug. And I watch her space. Huh? Yeah. So short term, I mean, like you are writing exams, you have to study. You have to have a plan. Long term, Chief Justice. Long term, a doctor. Long term, a farmer. Long term, a teacher, a nurse, a banker. Those are long term goals. Thank you so much. There are some quotes that I wanted to share about the power of goals, setting goals, having a plan. Goals are like a map. Never have a lack of goals. Never have a lack of goals. Because if you don't have goals, then anything goes, right? Someone will just come and say, you know what, let's go to agriculture show, but you know you wanted to be here, being mentored, right? If you have a goal, then you choose to be here. Vision is everything. What's a vision? Vision is everything. Anyone? In your own words. And remember, there is no wrong or rightful answer. What is a vision? Can I get it now from someone else? I want to hear another voice. Because our voices, girls, are powerful. Remember that. What is a vision? How do you understand it? What is a vision? So, okay, I'll give her, but I want someone this side. First, give it somewhere this side. Let's go for it, guys. You can do this. You can do this. What is a vision? Yes, thank you. How do you understand? We are here to learn, right? When someone says, my vision, what is a vision?
A vision is something that God has given to you. It's up for you to do something.
Exactly. Give her a clap of hands. And we go to my friend, yes. So it's something that is in you, you know. God has given it to you. So vision. What's a vision?
In my own understanding, a vision, this is knowledge that you have about something or what you see in something.
Exactly. Thank you so much. A hand for her. You wanted to try? Please give her the mic.
Okay. In my own words, I can say a vision is something you perceive or a picture of how you want yourself to be or how you want to do things.
Exactly. Yeah.
In your mind.
Thank you so much. A hand for her. So you've got a picture, right? You can see something. You have a knowing inside yourself that God is telling me this. So it's a vision. And visions are important. If you want to become a doctor, even see yourself dressed in that uniform. If you want to drive a car, even see yourself driving that car. If you want to be a teacher, see yourself even in front of a classroom, teaching, per board, sometimes even marking, right? So whatever you want to become, start seeing yourself Start seeing that picture. Start perceiving that to come to pass. So goals, we are told, for goals to come to pass, we have to have a vision. You have to dream big. My God. Huh? Don't limit yourself. Do we buy dreams? On your own, you are seated in the bedroom, per bed. Can someone even just come and say, hey, why are you dreaming like this? Is there such a thing? Even when you are with friends, you can even start dreaming, right? So I'm encouraging you today, girls, to dream big. And I go back to my childhood. We used to use charcoal and sometimes wood to actually cook our meals. But guess what? I'll dream, I'll see myself cooking on the stove. I would see myself sleeping on this nice bed. I would see myself driving this nice car. I would see myself living in this big house. And ask me, when I was still doing that, I said I was going to school without sleeping where? And it was free, right? And I could dream big. And I can assure you, most of those things have come to pass in ways that I never even imagined. I would laugh with my friends, for example, because I've got a presidential height. Who has a presidential height like me? I've got a presidential height, so I'll tell them to say, the car that I'll be driving, you put a stool, and then you climb your car. I don't want a small car. And they used to laugh. And guess what? It came to pass. And people laugh. When I started working, by the way, I recall every month I got paid. Guess what I was buying? Who can guess? Shoes. You guys are calling them heels, right? As we used to call them schooner. You know? So I was buying shoes, mwebantu, and clothes. Until my mother one day came and said, my daughter, I know how you suffered. I know how you went to school without shoes. But you can't just be buying shoes, shoes, and shoes. I was showing Sheila, right now, I've got a room. Just what? Shoes. So you see, when you work hard, the dream comes to pass, you can enjoy. Huh? And that is what God wants for all of us. He wants us to enjoy. And as children of God, I tell you, there is no segregation. If you look at the scriptures, the promises are meant for each and every one of us. We said dream big. So I hope as you go back today, your dreams, as you write them down, my God, they'll be big. And next time when we come through, I would want some of you to share those big dreams. Can I ask that two people just share right now a big dream? And remember I said, no one should penalize you for dreaming big. Huh? So two girls to share. You want to share? Yes? Two people to share. Thank you, thank you.
I want to become a medical doctor.
Yes.
That travels around the world helping people, even through other ways like donating, building orphanages, food shelters, or anything just to help the world.
Wow, a big hand for that. That is big, right? Doctor, not just in Zambia, outside Zambia. I want to have an orphanage. Who's going for it? Big dream. Anyone else? And remember, dreams are free. That's one thing I like about dreams. They are free. So, someone to go for it? Yes, thank you.
Okay, so one day I want to have my own pharmaceutical company that produces drugs not only for this country, but also for other countries.
That is a big dream. A hand for that. Wow, wow. So thank you for that. And I know most of us have those big dreams, right? So at least my assurance is as we come out of here, all of us will have those big, big dreams. Goals give our lives meaning. Goals gives our lives meaning. Imagine without a goal. Wabuka fioluchelo, wauka kuseni, you feel so hopeless, right? So desperate, life loses meaning, like, why am I here? So goals give us life meaning. And true success is all about working towards meaningful goals and dreams. Stop playing small. Say with me at the count of 1, 2, 3, stop playing small. 1, 2, 3, stop playing small. Look at the person that is seated next to you and tell them, stop playing small. Again, stop playing small. And now let's tell ourselves, we are going to point ourselves, mention your name. I'm going to say, Agatha, stop playing small. 1, 2, 3, say your name. Again. Say it as if you mean it. Agatha, stop playing small. Let's clap for ourselves. We are going to stop playing small. Thank you so much. And now, ask yourself, where are you headed? Where are you going? Just yourself. Where are you headed? You can see, tying into a dream, goes, where are you headed? Stay focused at all times. Stay focused at all times. And guess what? It's never too late. You can start dreaming now, today. It's never too late. You can start following your goals now, today. You can do that. It's never too late. Don't look down on yourself to say, I've wasted time. Do I think I can achieve anything in life? I'm telling you, it's never too late. I said, goals are like a map. They help us determine where we want to end up and give us personal direction on which to focus our energy. You can accomplish whatever your mind can see. Vision. You can accomplish whatever your mind can see. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, someone to finish it for me, as a man thinketh, so is he. So whatever we think about, whatever we spend time thinking about, that is what we become. You are thinking doctor, you'll be a doctor. You are thinking farmer, you'll be a farmer. You are thinking a teacher, a banker, whatever. That is what this statement says. I've talked about back up your goals with a plan. You have to have a plan. So, okay, I'm here. To get there, I need to do A, B, C, D. It's about a process. And it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you sleep on the floor. It doesn't matter if you go to school without shoes. Start with a plan. What is your purpose? What do you want to accomplish in life? What do you stand for? Why are you here? What makes you cry? Poverty used to make me cry. I would look at my father, I would look at my mother, I would look at my brothers, sisters, relatives. I said, no ways. No, 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 no. So I ask you today, what makes you cry? What upsets you? Are you happy with where you are? I wasn't. Are you happy with where you are? Your parents. Don't you want to do something for your parents? Let me see those hands. Who want one day buy my mother a house, buy my mother something? All of us, right? Guess what? I managed to buy my mother a farm. I put electricity, I put water. And my mother now is a happy woman. Unfortunately, my father passed on. May his soul rest in peace. But it came out of that anger, that crying. I said, no, 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 no. I recall one time, remember, someone who used to go to school without what? Someone who used to sleep where? On the floor. I put mom on the plane to go to Kenya for 3 months. And my mother was crying. And then I was like, have I made a mistake? So I asked her, Mom, why are you crying? She says, these are tears of joy. If anyone ever told me that one day I'll actually be on a plane, I would have slapped them. But you, my daughter, has made it happen. How many of us would want that to happen? All of us, right? Yes. So, again, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? Okay, we still have some minutes. What is in your hands? I like that. What is in your hands? How many of us here know how to plait hair? You see? So already we have something. How many of us know how to do nails? We've got hands here. How many of us know how to, what else can we say? A lot of things, right? And some of us just to read. How many of us like teaching others? You want to share. Huh? You watch something, you want to share. How many love speaking like Agatha? Huh? Sharing. Hey, my friends. Huh? So what is in your hands? I want to tell you that we all have something. All of us, we have something. What are you good at? So find out what you are good at and pursue it. Huh? Find out. Am I good at? Some people it's actually sewing, making clothes. Some it's fashion, makeup. Divas. Do we have divas in the house? Yes. Okay. And always when I am looking at what I have, I go to the story of Moses. Moses had what in his hands? Someone? Yes, there's a hand here. Okay, there's a hand there. What did Moses have? Moses had something. What did Moses have?
Stick.
Yes, a stick. Yes, in Konto. And he did wonders. He divided the Red Sea. The same again became a snake and swallowed the snakes of other false gods with a small g. And guess what? Start where you are. It's not about awe bimbi baanko balianangu baanti ngabaisa nsenda. That's when I will. No, when I go kumayadi. No, when I start working. No, I'm saying you start where you are. So 1, 2, 3. Start where you are. We are going to say, I am starting where I am. 1, 2, 3. Tell yourself. I'm starting where I am. Thank you. Again. I'm starting where I am. Thank you so much. So how to create our own lives? How do we do it? Agatha has been talking about this, about that. How do we do it? Anyone? How do you do it? Whatever you want to accomplish, whatever you want to become, how do you do it? How do you do it? Thank you.
Believe in yourself that you can do it.
Wow, wow. A hand for her. That is the starting point. Believe in yourself. No one can believe in yourself like yourself. So believe in yourself. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And please remind yourself every day, I am the change that I want to see. Anyone else? What else do you do? There's a hand there. Okay? To become, to create.
By working hard.
Yes, another hand. By working hard. Things don't just come. My God, I left my children. I left my marriage. By the way, I lost even the job that I had when I made the call to go for further studies. So I used to wake up at night. Sheila will tell you whatever you want. Even now we are doing some studies, 21, 22, 02. So you have to work hard if you want to make it in life. Yes, there was a hand here. What else do you do? What can you do to create that life?
By dreaming big and being passionate about it.
A hand for her. Dreaming big and being passionate about it. Thank you, thank you. So we said identify where you want to go. It's important to have your end goal in mind and start off this process so that you know where you are going and when you get there, right? If I want to go to Livingstone, first I'll go to bus station, right? Board on a bus, which is going where? Livingstone. If I board on a bus going to Kabwe, am I going to Livingstone? I board on a bus going to Mbala, am I going to go to Livingstone? No. So I want to go to Livingstone, I go to the station, ni ama buses ya ku Livingstone, yali kuti, or yali paja, I go, buy my ticket, check that it's Livingstone, and get on the Livingstone bus. Then guess what? I'll get to Livingstone. Align your life with your key talents. We've talked about it. What are you good at? What do you have in your hands? Discover the skills you can develop to complement your talent. Skills can be taught. Skills can be learned. I told you I was a shy person. But because of my dream, where I wanted to be, I couldn't stay in my comfort zone. I had to come out. I had to develop skills for speaking. I had to go to school. I had to learn about leadership, managing teams, so you can develop your skills. If you want, I heard people who are good at hair, even nails. You have to go to people who are teaching nails. There are schools now, trainings. So whatever you decide to go, make sure you get the skills, you get trained. How to change your life? Very, very important. Agatha, how do I change my life? Number one, decide to change. Powerful. Decide to change. If you don't decide to change, guess what? What will happen? You will remain where you are. No change. Simple. So you have to decide to change. I told you I hated poverty with a passion. Because who can I help? Even myself, I can't help myself. I can't even help my friends, my relatives, my mother. So for me, I hated poverty with a passion. Decide to change. Learn to embrace discomfort. When you decide to change, guess what? Discomfort will come. Sheila will tell you, I used to be very big, like size 20, even 22. And when I decided to change, because it was giving me a lot of health issues, I had to stop my Hungry Lion, my softies like Cokes, Fanta. I had to stop junky food. I had to start exercising. And today, from my 90, Machani, I'm now per my 70s. One day I'll come with my photo and you'll be like, no, 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 no. So discomfort, whatever you choose to do, when you choose to change, there will be discomfort. Because of what? You have to sacrifice a few things. If you want to have 6 points, if you want to go to the University of Zambia, when your friends are playing, you are doing what? Studying. Yes. Define the changes you want to make. Again, it's not just waking up, oh, Ine, I want to change. What do you want to change? So you have to pinpoint to say, I haven't been studying, so I need to start studying. And again, it's not just saying I want to start studying, it's actually starting to study. Allocate time. When are you going to do it? Set a SMART goal. We've talked about it, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, relevant if you want, and time bound. Get your friends and family on board. I'm going to share this quote. If you hang out with chickens, you are going to cluck. And if you hang out with eagles, you are going to fly. So we are going to do something. Let's stand. What do chickens do? Any example? What do everyone stand? What do chickens do? At quack. So we are all going to do what we think chickens do, right? So when I say if you hang out with chickens, you go ahead and do whatever you think chickens do, right? So at the count of 1, 2, 3, what do chickens do? Quack, quack, is it? Let's do it again. What do chickens do? Quack, quack. And now, eagles. Eagles do what? Fly. So in your own way, let's fly. What do eagles do? Fly. You are not doing it. See my sister there. Let's do it. What do eagles do? Fly. And we are what? Eagles. Thank you so much. Take your seats. The other one is go the distance. I said focus on the process, not the results. Focus on the training, preparation, taking a step at a time. I'm going to finish my session, 12:31, on what we call the SWOT analysis. If we are SWOT, so it's SWOT. And as we are learning at whatever stage, I think we start doing the SWOT analysis when we are at college. I don't know now, the syllabuses have changed. Maybe you guys are even doing it. Focus on your SWOT analysis. Know your SWOT analysis. Do a SWOT analysis. S stands for know your strengths. In the business world, corporate world, we are so good at doing company SWOT analysis, strategy, whatever. But one thing that we forgot and are now entertaining is a personal SWOT analysis. Very, very important. S for strength. You want to become a doctor? Are you good in biology? Are you good in sciences? So whatever you choose to do, know your strengths. Yes, you can develop them. If you really want to sacrifice, you are determined to say, against all odds, I want to be a doctor. And I've got friends who are doctors. They were not good at sciences, but the moment they made up their mind that they wanted to be doctors, they worked towards that. So who is going to share some of the strengths that you have? But Chief Justice, what are the strengths that you have to take you as a Chief Justice? Please, Mike. Yeah. Some of the strengths, and as we go on, we'll be breaking out, and people will come to talk to us who are doctors, who are lawyers, and they help us, pharmacists, to say this is what you need. Yes, dear. Yeah.
The strength, I think I have confident.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to speak out in public,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a fast learner.
Yes. So you've seen confident, speak out in public, and also a fast learner. And I think by Chief Justice, you'll have to read, right? Because there are volumes of books that you have to read. Doesn't she look like a Chief Justice? A hand for her. Eh? Okay, another one. Your strengths. And it might not even be, my strengths might be maybe, oh, when I do your nails, Agatha, everyone will be asking. So let's hear them. Strengths. What are your strengths? Please share. What is your strength? Some people are just, peace-making people. Family ngakuli fyumfulunganyo. When I go there is peace. I'm able to bring friends together who are about to fight. That is a strength. And you can use it somewhere. So let's hear of a strength. Who's giving us a strength? Let's go for it, girls. We are looting for you. We want to get these voices. Even shaking like that. Strength. Anyone to share? Strength. Okay, there's a hand there. Thank you. What is your strength?
I think I'm good in sciences, and I have a good caring heart. So I want to become a doctor to help save lives and to help the sick as well.
Amen. A big hand for her. So a big heart, you need it, And she's passionate. She's good in sciences. So again, another assignment. When you go home, you don't want to talk to us, but please write it down. What are your strengths? And maybe, just maybe, next time when we meet, you'll share that with us. W is for weakness. What are your weaknesses? All of us, we have weaknesses. But we thank God that if God is for us, who can be against us? And we can do all things through who? Jesus Christ. But you need to know, like me, first, my father wanted me to become a doctor. You know my weakness. My God, I was scared of death. Not me. Even when someone hates themselves when I'm seeing blood, I just said, that's not my area. I think as a doctor, you need to be strong, So a number of things. Science, it was not my thing. But I did it to pass it because I needed it in grade 12. But I was not going to take a course at Unzaya Kwata Science because it was not my strength. So you need to know your weaknesses. But if you are determined enough, you can again sacrifice, work double shifts until you become good at it because we have the mind of Christ. And Jesus can make us do anything that we want to achieve. So know your weaknesses. Then you decide, okay, but I want to be a doctor, but I hate sciences, but I want to be a doctor. So you have a plan, either extra tuitions, so you do so much more so that you become good at that, because that is what you want to become, right? Then O is opportunities. What opportunities do you have? This session is one of those. Opportunities to learn, opportunities to be mentored, opportunities to go to school, opportunities to even have just an auntie or an uncle that pays school fees for you. Don't have a victim mentality. There is always someone that God has placed to help us. Because guess what? If you wallow in self-pity, you wallow in a victim mentality, you remain there. My father, my mother, my father was a drunkard, my mother, they didn't go to school. Unfortunately, the world that we live in doesn't give us any advantage. I tell people, when I'm interviewing, whatever role we have in our organization, my friend, we don't ask you, where do you come from? Or who's your father? Did you come from a poor background so that we can give you like an advantage? There is nothing like that. If our advert said we want someone with masters, first for you to even be called for the interviews, you have to have masters. Yeah, we needed this. Just know if you come through that door, then you met the criteria. There is nothing like, where do you come from? Your mother, your father. Yes, in some circles it might happen, but I can assure you, it is what are you bringing to the table. So no more pity parties, no more victim mentality. I told you, Genesis 1:26, made in the image of God, created to rule, to have dominion, to have authority. If God is for us, no one can be against us. The last one, threats. What are your threats? And threats are many. Sometimes it's maybe you don't even have the resources. Sometimes you feel there are more people who can do things that you can't do. Maybe sometimes the things that you want to do or become, there's a lot of competition. It's about knowing, because when you know, then you can find a way around it. So I wish you all the best from wherever we are starting, from wherever we are, from whatever we have. It doesn't matter. The Bible says God is no respecter of a person. Get it from someone who went to school without shoes. Get it from someone who slept on the floor. Thank you, and thank you.
Just take some questions,
okay,
if you don't mind.
No, I don't.
Right. Do we have questions for Mom? Do we have questions? I have a few questions, but I want to know if you guys have questions. Because she said a lot of things that I think, even me, I'm not a girl or a woman, but I think I've gotten so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
I think the first question that I want to ask, obviously, you know, you've been so blessed, right, by God's grace,
yeah,
career-wise and everything. But there is a stereotype, right, with being a woman or a young girl in Africa, maybe in Zambia as well, right? Looking back from where you came from to where you are today, right? Because when they leave this place, they face that stereotype every single day.
Yeah.
How would you advise them, right? So stereotypes like, oh, girls should stay home and cook, right? You don't have any business in school, all those funny things, right? So what would you say to them, right? If you're facing those kind of scenarios from your family, from your parents, right? How do you overcome that? That's one, right? The second question, I think the other thing that you talked about, obviously, you know, you talked about making choices, right? So you have to make a choice, right? But even in that making a choice, you have to set priorities, right? Whether it's your long-term goals or your short-term goals, which is what you talked about as well. So how do you go about prioritizing certain things, right? So if I mean, you ask them, for example, to say, okay, what's your vision, right? But how does that tie, you know, realistically into, there are so many things I have to do, right? I have 24 hours in a day, right? I have younger siblings, right? Mom and dad, I need to help them do something. But how do you then set that priority, right? Such that at the end of the day, you are doing the things that you think are most important, right? So if you could just talk a bit about, number one, dealing with those stereotypes, and then number two, right, prioritizing what might be more important. So if you could just talk about those two.
Thank you so much. Loaded. And I can have a session on that one. So the first one, I thank God that I had a father who believed in me. I was the firstborn daughter. All his brothers first had sons. And you know our culture. You know, it's expected that always a man should have a boy. So from the time I was born, my father told them, this one will be different. This one will accomplish more than your boys. So you see where I started from? Yeah, so words were spoken into my life. And I recall at one point when I think we went into grade 7, then the previous grade 7s, they had all failed. So they came into our class, they were repeating. And I used to be number 1 all the time. But that particular term, when we had those combined, I was number 3. And I recall going home and my father said, so you were number what? I said number 3. But Dad, number 1, number 2 were boys, and those that were coming from the previous class. Guess what he did? He gave me a good beating. And he said, I never, ever want you to ever believe that you are anything less. But to your point, as I started now coming to the corporate world, it's tough, girls. And that's why it's so, so important that we find our voice. We raise our hands. Because guess what? We are expected to work double, to prove double. There can be a position in the business organization. Your checklist will be 10 times more than that of a man. They want to know, first even, are you married? Do you have children? Is there something that is going to distract you? Are you able to travel? A lot of things. And that's why we can't afford to stay back and think that someone is going to do it for us. Those days are gone. We have to speak out. We have to work hard. We have to prove that we are worthy a seat on the table. It's no longer about just makeup, but no, my beauty is going to talk on my behalf. Even just models, we see the competitions now. They are going for what? Brains. So empower yourself. I said knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is more powerful. The second one was about choices. So there's
priorities.
Yes, how do you prioritize? So again, I've come to learn about the 20-80% rule, which is the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle says that 20% of what you focus on will give you 80%. And sometimes you focus on the 80, it will just give you 20. So I use that to say, what is the value of where I'm putting my effort? Is it going to give me 80 or is it going to give me 20? And it's not easy. So you have to find a balance. I'll give you a personal, again, a story about my family. I always say I come from the mountains, and you know, when you come from the mountains, the whole mountain follows you. If I haven't made certain choices, I tell you right now, I would be where my other brothers, sisters, and relatives. So there are times that you are going to make choices to go ahead so that you can go back and help them. Because here they are putting you, phone calls, this and that. And if you are not focused, you just end up like everyone else. So sometimes it calls for you to say no so that tomorrow you can say yes. So very tough call, but you can find the balance. And pray. God always makes it easier for us. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask, how can you overcome your weakness? How you can overcome your weakness?
Okay. Thank you so much. How do we overcome our weaknesses? First, know what that weakness is, right? That is the starting point. So once you identify what that weakness is, then you can plan. Then you can find ways of overcoming it. I'll give you an example. I've got a weakness of drinking beer. It's an example, by the way. It's not my weakness. If I go to the bar, will I overcome? I've got a weakness of not studying, and I like sleeping. If I continue sleeping, will I study and pass? So the first thing that you ever need, first identify, know that weakness. And when you know that weakness, then you can find ways and means. You can even go to someone, because then you know that that person has got that strength to say, how do you do it? And girls, never, ever avoid reaching out. Reach out to someone that you think they can help you out. When I was at campus, I was taking econometrics. My God, that course, I didn't like it. It was my weakness. I could have failed. But I identified someone who was very good at econometrics, and I made them my friend. And guess what? I had a C+. So I passed, but not with flying colors, but I cleared. So first and foremost, just identify what that weakness is and then plan around it. Reach out. Yeah. Any more questions? We are still here. We'll interact. Okay, yes, thank you.
How can someone set their goals if they think there's less time for them and they feel they've wasted a lot of time on certain things? How can you encourage them to set their goals?
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. So I think there was someone, I don't know if it was you, who said believe in yourself, right? And it's never too late. You can start now. We talked about short term and we talked about long term. So you set short term goals to say, with this time that I've left, what can I do? And we'll give an example of studying, right? You are writing grade 12. You haven't been studying and now exams are about to come. Definitely, unfortunately, you have to work triple. So it means studying in the night, studying in the day, doing study groups. So you have to put in more effort so that you can just conquer that short term. So short term, you just know that you are going to put in so much more so that you can accomplish that goal. And because of what you have learned now, when you are now setting other goals, you work smarter and wiser. Yeah. Okay, there is a hand. Can we say the last one? And then we'll continue talking, right? Yeah. And we are here, so you see a lot of us.
Okay, my question is also dated, like, okay, being in a relationship where you want to achieve some goals. Yes, okay, while you're just trying to do something else, like trying, how do I ask? Okay, is it advisable for someone to be in a relationship while I need to achieve something or I need to focus on my goals?
Okay.
Yes.
What do we think? Can I have an answer from the audience before I say something? What do we think? Is it advisable to be in a relationship while you want to achieve your goals? Who's giving it a try? Okay, there's a hand, there's yeah. So let's hear from each other, right? We are iron sharpening each other. Okay? So we've got so many hands. They want to say something. Yeah. You've gotten? Okay, yes.
Yes, it's advisable as long as you're able to give each other's ideas.
As long as you're able to?
Give each other's ideas.
Okay. Advisable as long as you are able to give each other advice. I think we should do a debate. And remember, there is no wrong or right answer, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's give her a hand. It's advisable as long as you are able to give each other good ideas. Anyone else? Yes? Okay. So we start with that and then, okay.
According to me, being in a relationship while you're trying to achieve something, it's not advisable because most of the time relationship become your weakness.
Okay.
And most people are not disciplined to control themselves.
Okay. So that's a vision. You know, for her, it will distract me. And then also discipline. We might in the long run not control ourselves.
It's not advisable because you can't serve two gods at the same time.
Yes, two masters at the same time. Do we have any other? Yes?
If you ask me, I think no and yes. Because priorities, they're very hard to make. Especially since you have to think about someone else.
Exactly.
Then yes, because if you know yourself that much, maybe you can be in a relationship.
Okay.
If you know how to set priorities for yourself, I can do this, I can do that, maybe it will be good for you to go in a relationship.
Okay.
If you know how to control yourself.
A hand for her as well. No or yes. So you know what, I'll leave with you. I think we need a session on this one. Because first, it's dependent on so many things. Where are you? Is it wise to have a relationship grade 1 to grade 7? Is it wise to have a relationship grade 8 to 12? Tertiary, it's different. And what do you mean to be in a relationship? Because you need to know why and what do you want to accomplish from this relationship. But if you want to focus, I want to believe that first set your priorities right. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was amazing. Can we give Miss Agatha another hand? All learnt a lot. Myself, I've learnt a lot. I was taking down notes. She talked about the SWOT analysis. And I want us to share some of the things that stood out for us from the things. Some of the things that stood out from everything that she shared. Two people. No one wants to share?
Being smart, that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Thank you.
Someone else?
I think what really stood out for me is when she said girls' voices are powerful.
That's amazing. Can you give her a clap? Myself, what stood out for me is when she said, how do you change your life? You first start by you decide to change. I think that's very important. Because you can't, if you don't see a problem or you're comfortable with where you are, you don't see a point of setting your goals or having a vision, right? Our next speaker is Miss Sheila Zulu. She's an agroeconomist and mentor. She works with farmers and crops. Agronomist, okay. She's a mentor as well. She works with farmers and she works with crops. She's going to talk to us about agribusiness. Can we give her a clap?
Good morning, everyone. Is it morning or afternoon? Can we give ourselves a big clap? Is it cold? Huh? If we don't want to clap for ourselves, who will clap for us? Clapping for ourselves we don't want. Who will clap for us? Let's clap for ourselves. Big clap. Fantastic. So my name is Sheila Zulu, and I'm an agronomist. I work with farmers, and I work with crops, and I work, obviously, if you are working with crops, you are working with the soil as well. So before we start talking, from the previous session, some people were talking about what they learned. So for me, what I learned from the previous session is the weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? So I was thinking in my head that if you are already able to identify your weaknesses, then you've overcome them. Because the weakness mainly is because you don't know it. It's working against you. It's killing everything that you are doing. So the moment you identify it, you've overcome it, because then you know what to do about it. So that was my takeaway, is that once you identify your weakness, then you are the champion. Okay. So I'm here to talk about agribusiness, because everybody wants to have money. Do we have people here who don't want to make money? That's the only place you make money. Who doesn't want to make money? Who wants to make $1 million only? Only, just $1 million only. But if you want to make more, still, so who wants to make money? This is the place to make money. So we are going to talk about agribusiness. So I've been in the agriculture space for a very, very long time. And the time I was getting into the agri space, which is a career path, agriculture was not fashionable. Even now, it's not fashionable. So at the time, I made that choice. And today you've been told to make choices. When we are making choices, there are a lot of voices that speak to us. Which voices are we listening to? Because I think we've been challenged that as we live, we should decide the change that we want to make. We should decide what we want to do. So that is a choice. So which voices are we listening to? Who is talking to us? Have we decided what we want to do? It's tough, but you only appreciate it later. If you don't make a choice of what you want to become, what you want to do, the change you want to see, then everything else is going to go. And then at the end of it all, you would have wasted or thrown away everything that God put inside of you. Because God has put things in each one of us that we are supposed to fulfill. There's a purpose. We are not just here for nothing. So if we don't start doing that, then we waste and throw away everything until we get back to the soil. So making our choices, that's very, very important. So when we start making those choices, who are we talking to? You are so privileged, you are so blessed that you are here, you've got people to talk to you when you start making those decisions. Some of us, we didn't have anyone to talk to, so you are just staggering on your own. You hold this one, they are not interested. You hold this one, they are not interested. But if you have people to talk to you, you are asking questions, they are guiding you because they've gone through that journey. So when it comes to agriculture, and especially the girls, you people seated here, there are so many lies about agriculture. Maybe there are so many lies about all other things, but agriculture is number one because people say it's a dirty job, isn't it? So I don't know which one is a clean job, but agriculture has been labeled a dirty job. It's for the old, it's for the illiterate, so people have gone to school, they don't want to have anything to do with agriculture, or some people want to do it when they retire, and or it's for the poor, and all these lies. I'm sure we've heard any more other lies we've heard about agriculture. I call them lies because what is not true is a lie, isn't it? Or do we have people who are interested in agriculture? Or we've already believed the lies and we don't want to have anything to do with it? Anybody wanting to get into agriculture? No one in this room. Okay, so what are the reasons? Why do you want to get into agriculture? A microphone here, I want to get some reasons behind that.
Okay, the more reason why I want to get into agriculture, I had this training where I got into food production. I learned SQ where they were making sausages and the like. So I got an interest from that, and I was inspired to say. So that's the reason I want to get into agriculture. I want to start pork farming and let me just say livestock farming, so that I'll be able to keep my own animals and manufacture them, produce them into foodstuffs, to say.
Fantastic. Let's give her a big hand. Anybody else?
Oh, what I can say about it, it's I love looking after animals. That's why I would love to join agriculture.
Fantastic. A big hand for her. So it should not just end at loving. You have to make the money out of that love you have for the animals. Okay, whatever you do, it should be able to pay. So you do it out of love, but it pays. Nothing goes to waste. Anybody else? Okay, so we had one example here. She wants to get into agriculture because she went to a place where they were teaching about making sausages, and she wants to do livestock piggery, and then she wants to be making sausages. So what comes from this is that she was exposed and she got information and she saw that it works and she wants to do it. And in most cases, it's that information that we don't have. So if we don't have the right information, we get the wrong information and we believe the wrong information and we start living according to that information. So agriculture, before we even throw it in all the places, one reason, it shouldn't even be the big reason, is that everybody is eating. We are going to have doctors here, we have a chief justice, I heard the journalists, the teachers, all of these people. We are going to go into different places. Everybody is eating. How many times a day? 3 times a day, 6 times a day, it depends. But everybody is eating. Some people are actually just waking to put a meal on the table. Just waking so that they are able to eat. So agriculture, before we had the computers, we had all sorts of things. Agriculture was already there. It's still here, and it's going to be there. We are going to change how we do it, but the bottom line is we are producing food. So agriculture, agribusiness, that business is unfinished. We cannot finish it because the population is increasing. The food we are producing now will not be enough tomorrow because every second there's a baby born. Every 3-4 months that baby is moving to solid food. Somebody has to produce the food. So that's why that business, it's unfinished because it always has to respond to the population increase. People have to eat, someone has to produce the food. So that is why when I said, who wants to make money? So the money is in solving that problem. That is a problem. So you make money by solving a problem. Identify the problem. When you identify the problem, you make money. You don't beg for people to bring the money. You provide the solution. You put money, you put a price to that, and people come and pay. So the money you make, you can decide. That's why I said just $1 million or more. You are solving a problem. You are solving a problem for people. You are not solving a problem for your neighbor or for Zambia or for Africa. You are solving a global problem. Hunger, food shortage, food security, all this, it's a global thing. So when you get into that space, you are providing a solution for the whole globe, for the whole world. So that is agriculture. So when we are deciding what to do, especially if we are friends, if we are from the same school, sometimes there's a tendency to do things together as a group. But in most cases, you find that maybe there's just one person who's very influential and pulling the friends. So when you are making your choice, you have to be very sure. I told you already that we are so unique. Each one of us is different. So when we connect, there's a purpose, we've connected, but maybe we are supposed to bring our strengths together to do something, but at the end of the day, we are not the same. But you find some people, the friend wants to be a doctor, then she also says, I want to be a doctor. Are you sure? Does that work? Some people even go to medical school. When they finish, then they are still not sure. Then that time is gone. So when we are making the decisions and our choices, we have to be very sure. So that's why I said you have people to talk to. You are connected to people who've been through it. You can ask questions. When you start, you were taught that you have to work hard. You have to set your goals. You need to have people you are talking to. You are asking questions. Of course, challenges are going to be there, but it's in overcoming those challenges. Overcoming the challenges, that is life. That is, we can't say that, oh, it's a smooth road, things are just going to work out smoothly. It's not like that. And agriculture is that space. Of course, you've planted and there's no rain, so what do? So there are all those challenges, but you have to stay focused. You have to have that picture. So those who've decided they want to get into agriculture, you stay with that picture, unless you are not sure. If you are sure, just focus and stay with that picture. Just look at it. Somebody was saying, oh, they want to be, what, Chief Justice? Yes, so Chief Justice, so you know what it is. So to get there, you say, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do each day until you get there. But maybe when you get there, maybe you would already be thinking of something above that, because once you achieve it, then there's already something else that you have to do. So it's a journey, you're traveling, so you have to stay focused. So now apart from that now, with agriculture, I need to emphasize girls, those getting into agriculture. The biggest challenge is that you are told it's for the men. You are just told it's for the men. It's not for the men. That's what they've said. It's a challenge, and you have to get it right. It is a challenge because you are going to be among men, and you will think you are in a wrong place. If people say that it's not for girls, and you don't find girls there, then you are going to believe that it's not for the girls. But if you decide not to go into that space, then you are not doing justice to the people coming behind you, because then you let it carry on like that. Because in my case, when I decided I wanted to get into the agriculture space, even my friends were laughing at me because they were talking about gumboots, they were talking about overall, you'll be wearing an overall, gumboots. Nobody wanted to do that. But you realize that gumboots, overall, all those are protective clothing. We call them protective clothing because when you are in the field, there are snakes, there are all sorts of things. You are just protecting yourself. It doesn't mean that you are going to put on gumboots and go in the bank or go to the shopping mall. No. You put on those things because you have to work. It's like a person working in the mine. Maybe they have a special helmet because it's dangerous. They are working with stones. They are working with all sorts of hazards. You know what I mean? So those small things can actually discourage you. So when I got into tertiary, there were just 3 girls and I think 16 or 17 boys, and people were saying, we have some girls. Oh, we haven't had girls the past 3 years because girls are not enrolling into this course. And then you find that even the lecturers that are coming to give lessons and everybody else, there's no female. So that looks very real because that is an environment you are in. But you have to stay with your decision. That's why I said sometimes people lose their direction because the environment is giving them a wrong message. You are in an environment and everything is telling you it shouldn't be. You start to believe. So that is why what is inside of you, you have to keep it. Hold on to it. And then eventually you get to a point where you are going to appreciate that. So you come out of this agriculture university, you start working. It's the same. Up to now, I told you, I've been in this space for a very long time. Up to now, it's just the men, just one woman. Last week I was attending a meeting and I had some friends and there were some female friends and it felt very different. I told them, I said, okay, this meeting is good because all the meetings, it's one woman or 2 women, or in most cases. So that is what the agric space is. I don't know about the other spaces, but the agric space is very, very male dominant. So for you girls, if you decide that's the space you want to get into, do not get discouraged. And that's why I told you that now you know people who are already there. You know women who are already there. You talk to me about any challenge, or you think this is not happening, or maybe you are being sidelined, or this and that. But you have to stand up. You have to speak for yourself. Agatha was saying you have to work 10 times. And that's okay because maybe that's the society or the world we live in. But you shouldn't be discouraged. So with agriculture, I said, like any other, challenges are going to be there. But just make sure that you know what you want. And it's not about wishing. Oh, I wish. Nothing happens by wishing. In our heads, we are wishing for 1 million things, but we are here. Some of us, maybe in our mind, we are even in England now, but the body is here. We are just wishing. So it's not wishing, it's in doing it. And you learned already about goal setting. You set your goals, you break them down. You break them down into daily activities. When we are talking about time management, when we say time is money, if you have 100 kwacha, how do you budget for 100 kwacha? Or 10 kwacha talk time, 2 kwacha this, 3 kwacha this. It's the same with time. We have 24 hours in a day. How many hours are you sleeping? How many hours are you at school? When you are at school, you are in class, you are not in control of that. How many hours are you doing this? How many hours are you doing this? Divide your 24 hours. That is your money. How you are spending that money will determine what happens tomorrow. So that's why you hear some people say, you are wasting my time. You are wasting my time because you are not getting anything in where you are where you are spending your time. Maybe you are not getting anything, then that time is being wasted. So that is time management. Let's not just talk about it broadly as time management. Let's break it down to daily tasks, daily activities. So we are going to do a small exercise now about agribusiness because you need to understand this agribusiness we are talking about, it's a business. Because when we talk about agriculture, people are thinking of just farming. It's a very long chain. It's a very long chain. For you to get the food to your table, do we even know where that food has come from? Do we know who has produced that food? Who moved the food? Maybe we can know who cooked it. Where came all of that? So that is a chain. So that is what we call farm to fork. From the farm to your fork, you start cutting and eating. So that is a very long chain. So I just want you to see this chain so that you start understanding that there are so many opportunities. You realize that from now on, you will think twice whether you want to go and look for a job or not. So, So agribusiness, it's basically agriculture and business. So we are doing agriculture for business. We are doing farming for business. It's not, we are not playing, it's not a lifestyle. That's why I told the girl there that she loves to look after animals, but it should be a business. So that love that you have, because that love will never finish, it's coming outside of you, you are not being forced. So you make money from that love that you have for animals. You heard other people are so scared. Agatha told us she's scared of the dead bodies, she's scared of blood. So if there's one who wants to just do that with a lot of love, then you put money on that, okay? So that is the business side of it. So it's what we are doing, and then we monetize it. We put a price to what we are doing because not everybody can do it. I told you that the food we are eating, it's not everybody here who is producing that food, but we are all eating. And those people producing that food, there's a price to that we are paying. They are solving our problem. And in solving the problem, that's where you make your money from. So, we have the three basic things in agriculture. Or rather, so if you look at these three, you can find your space there. No matter what, you can find your space there. The production side, this is where now the food is being produced. And there's so much to produce. There's so much to produce, because everybody doing the processing here, this is their raw material. Can you see the picture? Okay, I can give an example of what food do we all know? Shima. Okay. So the shima is coming from the maize. So the maize is produced here. And then it's processed here now, the millers to bag it and all of that. Then distribution, that is a big thing as well, because there's movement of your maize from the farm to the miller, from the miller to the shop, from the shop to Kantemba, from your Kantemba to your house. All of that, it's moving. That is another space where somebody can get into and make money. So from this, so she was saying she wants to be here, but you can see that she was saying processing sausages, isn't it? The sausages are coming from the pigs, so the pigs are coming from here. So she's clever because she wants to participate here and here. And if you want, you can actually participate in all of them so that you make your savings. You don't pass on your money to somebody else. A good example I'll give you is Zambif. We all know Zambif, don't we? Yes. So Zambif does everything here. So they have farms. They are producing and they are processing so many things. Cooking oil, milk, yogurt, meshing, all the things they are processing. And they are also distributing. So you can actually do all of that. So if you are getting into this space, it doesn't mean you just have to be a farmer. You can get into any of these. But the success of these two depends on what is coming from here. And now, because everybody thinks agriculture is farming, sometimes we don't have a lot of people participating in the process. You find that some things go to waste, like everybody's growing tomatoes, and nobody's processing the tomatoes, and then they are going to waste. So that is already a gap. You notice that gap. So you need to identify what is the problem. And that's why I said when you identify the problem, solve that problem and let people pay for that solution. We shouldn't be copying because somebody is doing something I should do. Always look at what is the problem. Okay? So if you don't want to do this, you can do this, and then you can also do this. But in this alone also, when we are not just producing so that we can pass on this to processing and distribution. If you are a farmer, the money should be made here. If you are processing, you make your money here. If you are distributing, you make your money there. So as a farmer here, that is where it calls for a lot of intelligence, a lot of techniques. You need to apply a lot of techniques here because lack of knowledge for farmers, that is why we think they've ended up being poor, but it's because they don't have the information. So if you decide to be in this space of production, you have to understand what are you producing, because you are farming for business, you are not farming for eating. If you are farming for eating like in Shima, you don't need more than 1 hectare, which is 100 by 100. That's too big, because even 50 by 50, a family of 6 or 7, you should have mealie meal for the whole year. So if you are farming to eat, you don't need 1 hectare to grow maize. But if you want to grow maize, one moment, if you want to grow maize, don't grow maize to sell to Sheila or to your neighbor, because we are all growing maize. If you want to grow maize, I'm not discouraging you to grow maize. If you want to grow maize, grow it for the neighboring countries, because most of them are not growing the maize, so they are buying maize at a good price. So you can grow maize easily, because maize grows very well here in Zambia, and that's why everybody grows it, but it's not to sell to your neighbor because the price is so bad. So if you have maize in mind, your customer is not in Zambia. Okay? Are we together? Okay.
Sheila, you had, while we were in your office, you had taught me about what you do, where you give each family a certain piece of plot, that on that plot they can grow all their food on one plot for the whole year, all the meal they will need and tomato and all that. Can you please explain that concept? How small is this piece of land? And each of these girls can actually feed their family for 1 year if they understood that. I don't know if you'll help, but you just talking that would interest all. In fact, me again, let me learn again.
Okay. Okay, so that concept, or rather a small project, and I mentioned already that if you want to grow maize for Shima, because the maize you just want it for Shima and not for business, you don't need a very big piece of land. So the small project that we were doing, so we wanted to find out how much maize do we need to feed this size of a family. And what we found is that it's, I don't know if you can visualize it, but it was 190 meters by 30 meters. Yeah, I think. So within here, okay, maize, I think we're just working with about 20 lines. So from that, people were getting over, from one line they were getting about 100 kgs from one line, which is about 2 bags. So what they reported was that in a month, family of 7, they would use 150 kg. So meaning that if they were using 150 kg bag of maize, then in a year, they just needed 12 bags, which was way, way more from this small piece of land. This is less than an acre, and this is less than a hectare. So even if we say the family, how big are the families? Now families are not too big. Maybe 7. I don't know if people get to 10, but even if we would say a family of 10 people and we double that, then we just need 24 bags only for the whole year to take care of our Nshima. So if we are buying the milli meal, how much would that cost? Because in most cases we hear people complaining, oh, the price of milli meal has gone up, the price of milli meal has gone up. But you see how easy it is to do that. So with this knowledge, I expect that you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that for your families. Isn't it awesome if you can share these ideas with your parents, your guardians, and say, this backyard garden that we have, can we do the maize? We do it properly with the correct spacing. Of course, we do it. You reach out to me. I tell you what you're supposed to do. You do it, and then you harvest, take to the hammer mill, and then your parents, whoever it is, they don't have to buy milli meal. Isn't it awesome? Now you know. There's no magic. There's nothing special, because the milli meal we are buying, they've just milled it and packaged it for us. So we can still grow our maize and take it to the hammer mill.
On that land also, were they growing vegetables?
Yes, so on this land, they were also growing cowpeas, and they were also growing, there's another beans, the pigeon pea beans. So with the cowpeas, within this, because the cowpeas and the maize, we intercrop it. So intercropping, why we intercrop? within the small piece of land, we want to fully utilize that piece of land. So the cowpeas is a legume. I don't want to start confusing you. So the cowpea is a legume. The maize is a grass. So these two, so what happens is that they are friends. So the cowpeas is fixing the nutrients and the maize is taking. So they just have this good relationship. They don't compete. So they collaborate. So they grow very well together. So the cowpeas that they were growing, part of it, they used it as green, as relish. You know the leaves, eh? Yes, so you use the leaves for relish, cooking oil, or groundnuts, and part of it, they left it to dry, and then they cook it the way we cook beans. So it was from the same piece of land. So when we are talking about farming, people have this mind that they need this huge piece of land to start, but I've told you, especially for your mealie meal at home, when you go home, this coming season, this is the time for planning now. Can you allocate just that backyard? Even if you're going to just get 2 bags or 3 bags, let your parents, your guardians see that you can actually make your savings other than going to buy the mealie meal. You are going to buy the mealie meal because these people in these spaces, they want to make their money. The person who was grinding it, they want to pay their bills, they want to make their profits. The person who was distributing it. So you cut up all of that and just do this, and it's within your yard or wherever it is. Is that difficult to do? Who's going to do it? I need these names, and I need to make follow-ups. Who is going to do it? The girls are not interested. Okay, so another example that I want to give you with the production side is that when you get into this space, your planning and everything, you want to make your money. So you want to decide which crops you should grow. Okay? And when I was saying that you make $1 million, there are certain crops where you make your money faster. Okay? So I'll give you an example, 100 by 100. We know a football pitch. We know how big it is. Okay? Okay. So 100 by 100 is 1 hectare. So if we have just this 100 by 100, we can all visualize a football pitch. That's 100 by 100. So sometimes when people look at 100 by 100, they say, no, I'm looking for a bigger piece of land. This one is small. Okay, so that one is very small. So a small piece of land like this one. So maybe what we have to do is that, and that's why I said, when you are in this space of production, you need your mind and you need some techniques you need to move things around to make sure that you make your money. So you have to arrange for irrigation. Okay, irrigation is water, isn't it? Irrigating, not rain-fed. So get irrigation in this place. So if you have irrigation for this piece of land, then in a year, as long as you have irrigation, then you can do 3 cropping cycle. You know why we are doing 1 every year farming season? Because we are waiting for the rains. But if we can get irrigation, that's a first start. If we get irrigation, then we move away from the 1 season farming, and that already means more money. Okay? So let's not limit ourselves that farming is just for the rainy season. It's for the rainy season because people are waiting for water. So if we are able to do this, then in a year, we have 3 crops. So a good example I can give you is a crop of wheat, because that's a premium crop, easy to grow, it's a grass. Do we know how Simba grass grows? We know, huh? Do we know Simba grass? We should know it. So that is the way wheat grows. So it's a grass. You are not bothered about chemicals for weeds, because once it starts growing, it's a grass, it covers everything and the weeds won't grow. So why I'm saying it's an easy crop, because you just have seed and you have your fertilizer. That's all. So a piece of land, 1 hectare by 1 hectare, if poorly managed, you get 6 tons from that piece of land. And 1 ton last year, we were selling it at $450 per ton. Maybe now we're going to sell it $500 per ton. So if you have six tons, then we have $3,000 from this piece of land. Okay? Is that difficult to do? What is difficult? What is difficult? Easy, isn't it? Easy to make money, isn't it? That's why I said, by the time we are done, you will think twice whether you want to apply for a job or not. Because a job has a salary which is fixed. Whether your brain is working or not working, even if it works better, your salary is fixed. So there's a salary and there's making money. Making money, it's yourself. And that's why I said, when you're making money, your brain is working. You're coming up with ideas. So you harvest your wheat in August. If it's late in September, you sell that. And because you have irrigation, September, so just October, then October, mid-October, you put your soybeans there and you continue irrigating because everybody's waiting for the rains. So you have a very good crop of soybeans because soybeans wants a lot of heat and then you've got your water. So sometime in February, March, your soybeans is ready. You take it out, you put your wheat. So in fact, if you want, before you even put in your soybeans, because here you can move things a little bit, you can push your soybeans for rain-fed. When you take out your wheat, you can even put green maize. So green maize, that one is going to give you very good money because you are selling a cob. And from this piece of land, there's what we call plant population. This piece of land should have a certain number of plants. And those certain number of plants, that is your money. So for maize, we work with 55,000 plants per hectare, which is this one I showed you. So if you are going to manage your crop very well, say 50, maybe if we say the target is 55, when we are planting, it's 55. And when planting also, you learn all the planting techniques just to make sure that you have your crop establishment very well. So, this is maize now. So maybe we end up with 50,000 plants, for argument's sake, from 1 hectare. And then we plant green maize. We are selling per cob. How much is a cob? You see all these ladies roasting maize. How much is a cob? 5 kwacha? 7 kwacha? Okay, so they are selling it 7 kwacha, ready to eat, isn't it? Because you have to pay for their charcoal and everything. Okay, so now you as a farmer, maybe you are selling it for 5 kwacha, isn't it? Then they put a 2 kwacha. So 2 kwacha by 50,000 cobs is how much? Huh? How much? 100,000. Okay, so you harvest your wheat. You had $3,000 from your wheat. You put in your green maize, and this one, the green maize is faster because we are not waiting for it to dry and harvest, isn't it? So you put in your green maize, and this is per cob, and you have to be there because a cob is easy. Even if you gave someone to sell, you just count 20 cobs, take to the market, bring the money. That is very easy. So when you harvest your green maize, so you have how much? So you have $3,000 from wheat. You have how much from green maize? You have that, and then you come and put in your soybeans, and then from 1 hectare, your soybeans, you target, because you already have irrigation, maybe you get 3 tons from this piece of land, and then you can see that in a year, you have these crops, and you have this kind of money. So you tell me why you should not be making millions in 10 years. Why shouldn't you? Because if you make that kind of money from this, the next thing you want to do, you want to increase. So everything you did in this 1 hectare, you have 2 hectares. So people look at 2 hectares and they'll say, it's too small. Yes, it's too small, but if you have a small piece of land that is well managed, you actually grow faster. So the growth is, if you make your money here, you do things properly, you make your money here, you increase. Now you know what you are doing when you do that? You are going to employ people because you won't do that all by yourself. You are going to employ people, you are going to pay those people, the people who have children they are taking to school, so you see the impact you make in the economy. You are not applying for this, there is no application, there is no grade 12 certificate. It's just what do you have and where do you have to start. So is that so difficult, girls? Huh? It's not difficult, isn't it? Okay, so people have changed their mind now. A lot of people now are getting into farming, isn't it? Huh? Okay, so I have 10 minutes to wind up. So I hope we have this picture of the opportunities that we have in this agribusiness space. So if we want to do production, we can do that. If we want to do processing, we can do that. If we want to do distribution, and we can still do everything. Because once we start growing, especially from the production side, you find that you start processing, you have your own transportation, and then you are cutting off the other people and participating in all these sectors. So it comes back to the choice. Are we sure this is what we want to do? There are so many things that will come our way, but are we sure? And as we are going along this path, we are going to part company with some friends, those we are in school with, but we are going to meet other people who are interested in the things that we are doing. Agatha was telling us that if you get on a bus to Livingstone, actually if you get on a bus to Livingstone, do you know that some people will get off in Mazabuka, in Choma, but that bus is destined where? So if you are going to Livingstone on a bus, someone gets off in Mazabuka, you also follow. You have to know where you are going. And that bus at Intercity, they will tell you, this bus is going to Livingstone. But someone will be there, they are going to Choma. So this is what it is when we are making decisions, is that we should know where we are going. We are going to meet people on the way. If those people are going where we are going, well and good. But there are others, they will be very good company, and then they are just going to Kafiwe. You are going to Kafiwe, yes. No, I think let me also go. And then you have killed everything that is inside of you. So when we are making our choices, that's the most important time. The people we are talking to, the things that we are exposing ourselves to, because you find that maybe we are now excited, but then 1 month, 2 months down the line, we hear so many other things and they dilute those other things, and then we are lost. So once we decide, we stick with that, and we stick with the people who are into that space so that they help us to grow. So in the end, the message that you are going to have is just your life. You know that it's not everybody who talks to us. Some people will just be watching you and they are learning and they are getting inspired. They don't even talk to you, but they are just watching and learning. So you find that the responsibility that we have is what we are doing and how we are impacting and helping all the people around us. And especially for the girls, I've told you already, those getting into agriculture, you are not just getting into it for the business. The money is good, but you should get into it to change the picture. It's not to talk about it. Get into it and change the picture. If people are going to say agriculture is for the men, they should find you people doing it. Get into it and create the jobs. Everybody's waiting for someone to give them a job. Create the jobs. I've told you that once you do this, it starts to grow. You won't do it by yourself. You have to employ people. You create the jobs, and then you impact the economy, because all these activities, they are impacting on our economy.
Or in farming, in reality, are there more women farmers or more men farmers? Because from what we know, women actually are on the farms more than men, but men control the money.
Yes, so actually the ones who do the hard work and the labor is the women, especially with our traditional way of farming. So the women are doing the hard work and the men are controlling the money. When they harvest, the men do the sales, they buy the fertilizer, they buy the seeds. But so sometimes when we say there are no women, they are doing the hard work and their voices are not heard. They don't have any place to express themselves. They can't make decisions. Now, that is not the farming we are talking about. So you people are here. You get this information. You have to make decisions. I told you that, especially with production, you need a lot of techniques to make your money. Because those women who are just doing the hard work, it's like it's just the tractor. You just drive a tractor and that's it. Somebody can't make a decision for themselves. They can't even say how best they should do something. They're just doing it and it ends there. We don't get to see them. All we see are the men, or they're coming to sell this, or they're going to the bank, or they're coming to buy that. And they'll decide whether they give the women money or not. But they do most of the hard work and that's very discouraging. So you people in this room, you need to change that picture. And that's why I said you need to stand up. You need to stand up. And in standing up, it's the knowledge. I learned this morning that the applied knowledge does what? Yeah, it's more powerful. So anybody else will have the knowledge, but what makes a difference is the one who is applying it. And that's what is expected from all of you here. What you are getting, the only difference you make is in applying it. Otherwise, you won't be any different from someone who hasn't come here. So what you get, you apply it. So you know now that agriculture is not for the men, but because the women are not standing up. So the women are there, but they are disadvantaged, I think, because of cultural setting, and that's the picture we are changing. Okay, so my time is up. But just maybe 5 minutes for some questions. I think I've taken a little longer. Let's get some questions. Let's get to talk. Questions, questions, questions. Even those who want to be doctors, the Chief Justice, you'll be eating, isn't it? In fact, there's even lunch today, I'm told. Everybody's going to eat. So others want to be teachers. We are all going to eat, so that's why we should ask questions. Questions? No questions? Okay, if there's no question, there's no lunch. How can we not talk about what we are going to eat? Why should we not talk about food? Huh?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I don't have a question, but a comment. I think the talk was very educative and challenging. So thank you very much for opening our eyes of understanding in the area of agri-business. So personally, I think we will talk out need help. I have land which is idle. And then from the talk, I realized I would be gaining from the 50,000.
Yeah, you start with this size, yeah.
With this size.
And
yeah.
then...
So please, can we talk?
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for that. So land is idle until the knowledge is applied to it. See, if we see a house being built, there was a bare plot before that, isn't it? And then someone in their mind, they had a plan of the house, and then they put resources together, and then we see the house. So when the land is idle, then we have the ideas, and we apply now what we have learned, and then we change everything there. So sometimes we think, oh, land is just idle. That's a very valuable resource. So thank you so much, and yes, we are going to talk.
You have been, oh Beth, I'm sorry. You wanted to ask a question. You've been abroad, you studied abroad as a woman, and you met other women in your school. There, do women farm like in Africa? And how do women see it? What is agriculture for somebody outside like? Because for us, we think agriculture is for poor people. What did you see? What was your experience outside?
Okay, thank you for that. So when I was doing my studies abroad, the picture is very different from what we have here. And I should mention that why it's different is that what we are doing today in this room, they've been doing for a long period of time. So they've been doing it for a long period of time, and people's minds have changed. So when people's minds change, they start to do things differently. So when we may be thinking agriculture is for the poor, where I went, it's actually a different story. I went to an agriculture university, and it's a prestigious university. They actually say it's for the rich. It may be expensive, but this is the university where the farmers' children go, and just this agriculture profession, they actually consider it for the rich. So the people who live in town, they are renting apartments, they actually laugh at them. Because for them, the wealth and everything is in the agri space. And when I went there, why I'm saying it's a very different picture from what we have here is that there were more women, especially in my class. And these women, they are studying at master degree level to go and better their farms. They are not studying to go and look for a job. Actually, they will laugh at you if they hear, oh no, when I finish, I'm going to look for a job. No, when you are doing projects in schools, they are doing projects linked to their farms to improve their farms. Maybe somebody is doing dairy animals. They want to produce more milk. They are studying in school a project to come up with a model on how they are going to improve milk at their farm. They don't have a job in mind because the job is going to limit them. So that is very different. So we actually had times when we had companies come to university. They are pleading with the students to say, we are going to give you so much money. Can you come and work for us? But not so many people want to go and work for other people because they are already working on their farms. So that was the picture. That was very different. But like I said, that what we are doing now, we continue so that this picture can change because our friends learned a long time that they needed to do that. They needed people to understand, and they are very far, far ahead of us. Betha, you had a question.
Yes, I had a question. So we've learned that knowledge that is applied is more powerful. So with everything that you say, what should be my steps action? Maybe I don't have land. Maybe obviously I'm limiting factors. I don't have land or enough money, or I don't know how much I need to grow something. What should be my first action from this meeting?
Okay, so from this meeting is, have you decided what you want to do? That's the first thing. Have you decided? Not wishing. Have you decided? So the decision first. Second is, what do you have? We are always rushing for what we don't have, and what we don't have, that picture is very big. So what do you have? Make your decision. From the decision, what do you have? Before you even go elsewhere, what do you have? When you make a decision, what is required? And then, what do I already have? What can I start with? That's a good place to start from. Because when we look at what we don't have, everything becomes impossible. Because sometimes someone will be looking at you and admiring that, I wish I was like her. And then we don't know what we have, and somebody is admiring because they can already see the resources that we have. Sometimes it's actually even just the people. We should not take it for granted. People is a huge resource. Some people don't have anyone they can talk to. So you already have people you can talk to. That is step number one, because then you know that you'll be well guided on that path. So first, your decision. Nobody should force you. It should come from you, because when it comes from you, that will never run out. It's coming from you. If you are being forced to do something or pushed to do something, at some point you are going to get tired. But if it comes from you, it will just be flowing and flowing. And that's why we will actually say that some people will say, I have grace in this area, because they do it so easily. It's coming from inside of them. That's the starting point.
So, thank you for answering, Betha. I want to bring that into your life, because you're one of the foremost agronomists in Zambia. You said the starting point is making a decision. Using your life as an example, how did it happen? You have brothers, you are the only sister. How come you are the farmer? How did you make that decision?
So I mentioned earlier that when I was sharing with my friends, these are girlfriends, that I wanted to get into the agric space, I had no support because it wasn't fashionable. So when I decided, because agric, I actually never had this complete good picture of what it is, but I wanted a science, but a science that was practical, but not a science for the lab. And I'm really not bashing all those careers, but like Agatha, I'm not one person who wants, oh, blood, this. That's why livestock, yes, I'll do a bit, but not so much. I want livestock because I want manure for my crops, but not anything beyond that. So when I got into that, because for me, of course, just growing around brothers and the only girl, that also helped. It helped. Now when I look back, it helped. But that time, it was like not a very good life, because you get to do all the jobs. You know, the way they assign jobs at home, sometimes we think, oh, washing plates, cooking is just for the girls. But for us, it was everything, even getting to a point of digging a pit. You know, a pit where you throw your garbage, because maybe this time we have people picking garbage. Those days, you dig a pit. When it's full, maybe you burn that trash or you bury it, and then you have to dig another one. And we would all be digging. I was the only girl, so you find we had a stick. It's your turn. You go and dig up to that stick. Somebody else goes up to that stick until you get that. And it was difficult. It was hard. And of course, your friends will just be laughing at you, especially at school. I went to a girls' school, so sometimes you find noisemakers are taught to dig a pit, and some people would be saying, Sheila can do this better because where she comes from, they do this, you know. And it wasn't something so nice, you know. You don't want all those things to be discussed at school. So in doing all of that, even when I said I wanted to do agriculture, I must say I was fortunate or blessed, because I didn't have any opposition from the family. My father was not a farmer, so sometimes you find that people will do something because their parents are doing it. So I had the support from home, and apart from the support, it was also in already understanding that the boys, my brothers, the ones I was growing with, I was doing what they were doing. So even when people said agriculture was for the boys, for the men, it didn't really get to me, because I'm growing in a place with boys and we are doing everything. So that's why I said sometimes the environment in which we are in, you find that it can work against us, because we have everything around us that is giving us a message, and that it may not be true. So once we decide what we want to do, if we are with people who are discouraging us, we have to connect with people who are in that space so that we are encouraged and we focus on that path. So for me, it was, I think that really helped, because even now when I meet with my friends, those who were growing up with, and then they just say, you really wanted to know already what, you are still doing this agriculture thing. So now when I look back, I actually appreciate all of that, but it was that environment of being exposed to everything. And that's why I say that sometimes it may look like it's punishment, but you appreciate it later, because that is a learning process. And it's discipline. You are doing things that you don't want, but you are doing it, but you are not realizing that you've actually learned, because you have been doing it. Okay. Any other question? So the lessons are hard. Everybody wants the results, isn't it? Agatha told us about the comfort zone that, oh, she was weighing so many kgs and what and what. And then if she just sat and started wishing, I wish, was it going to happen? People want, people want this type of a body and what, and then they are told, oh, you're supposed to exercise. Who wants to exercise? Nobody. Everybody wants the comfort, but in that comfort zone, in agriculture, we say, in the comfort zone, there's nothing that grows. There's nothing that grows in the comfort zone. So we have to step out, and whether it feels uncomfortable, but what should actually give us hope is where we are going. Okay? So from today, we decide, let's stick with the decisions, and it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but we just have to make sure that we have decided. And when we decide, we focus on that, and it becomes very easy because we are just looking at information that is helping us in that journey. Any other question? Any questions? No questions? Okay, so thank you so much. You see more of us, especially those in Agric. So those who are going to decide to be on this path, then you know that we shall be together. I'm not the only one. There are so many people, and that's why I told you that even people, that is already a resource because they are helping you on that path which you decide. So thank you so much for your time.
Can we give Madam Sheila another clap? Yeah. Personally, I've learned a lot, and I know people say agriculture is for men, but I think like she's one of the coolest people I have met, and I'm really inspired by her. So I used to think farming is just about you growing crops, and today we've learned that it has to do with all these. You can do production, processing, or distribution. So let's all research, like try to find like which space do I want to fit in, or what problem do I want to solve. Okay? Yeah, so we're about to break off for lunch. There'll be people that will come that will give us meal cards, and then they'll direct us to where we should go. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. While they're giving the meal cards, maybe somebody has something to say, especially concerning agriculture. You guys didn't ask too many questions. Anybody? Come on. Guys, so we'll do this in an orderly manner. I'll direct you. Like, I'll direct the rows that should go first. So, yeah, you can start from here. Oh, sorry. How many of us are learning? A lot? Yeah.
I just want to give a short notice. Tomorrow we are having a